Sweet. It's
Well,
gonna,
you're
yeah.
62 episodes in, so I take it you know what you're doing. I heard the 50 episode mark. Once you get over that, that's when you know you're in it for good. So,
Maybe. I don't, dude, in the last couple months, I've only done like 2 or 3 episodes because school's got really crazy. I'm in physical therapy school, so
mm.
something a little bit different than most people. But yeah, dude, I'm trying to get back on it and do like one a week, and it helps me a lot whenever like people like yourself will schedule in, and then it just makes me stay honest. So yeah,
Yeah, no, if you ever need me again, I'd be game. Freaking, I think this is cool. Like I only listened to one podcast. Sorry, I didn't hear of you until recently. Like, sorry
you're good.
about. I
No,
think
that's
I believe I seen you on the timeline once or twice, but yeah, no, I enjoyed the podcast. You had some takes I totally agreed with. I believe you said
sweet.
something about Godwin that I wasn't too about, but hey, not everyone says Chris Godwin outside their top 12 wide receivers.
Yeah, dude, it's been good. I plan on getting on Twitter a lot more and things like that because I find it fun. I just
Yeah,
gotta find the time for it because you've been with Dynasty Nerds for a couple
about a
months,
month.
right?
No,
About a month,
end of February. I
end of
got.
February.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was lucky to just see. I follow Dennis, and I seen him put up something. If you have experience, if you don't have experience, reach out to me. I don't have any experience with writing. It's not like I went to school for this. I had a college course that I did writing. I enjoyed it a lot, and I was saying to him like these past couple off seasons because I did have in mind I wanted to do something like this. I've
yep,
been writing for myself like articles that I would put out there hypothetically, but I didn't. It was all for me, verbatim. And if anything, when he hit me with do a write up on if you're in or out on Tyler Lockett, it wasn't like I was in over my head. I knew what I wanted to do.
nice. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, Dynasty Nerds is a good little group, so it's not even little anymore. It's a good big group.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're not little.
Yeah, they've it's gotten big because I joined Dynasty Nerds at the beginning of 2020 season.
Hmm.
So it's only been 8 months, 6 months, 7 months. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll know. I got Price following me. I'll know it when I got the other guys following me too. But
I think I don't actually. It may just be Price for me too. I don't know if like Matt has followed me yet. Maybe
oh man, Price is following me before I was even writing. He's a good dude. The
he
one time I
is.
hit him up with his faith and fantasy stuff, and I'm like, it's crazy. I'm listening to this, and I was over my mom's, and she was into it, like, and she's really religious. I was listening to it because Price is a good dude, and like
Yeah.
I'll always like listen to the guys I like, and yeah, no, it was pretty cool. I was telling him she's gonna be a member of the Nerd Herd before you know it, just because of him.
There we go. Perfect. All right, I'll go ahead and get into it. So I'll do the intro, and then we'll just roll on with um. Sweet. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 62 of the Snake in the Draft podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Vines. You can find me on Twitter at jsnake_DFF. In this episode, I have Mike O'Malley, who you should be following on Twitter at OMalthealleycat. I think I said that right, Mike. And he's been killing it recently with his Dynasty Nerds articles. And today we're going to be talking about Mike's My Guys, his take on T.Y. Hilton and Logan Thomas. So what's up, Mike? How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Jacob. This is a pleasure to be on Snake in the Draft. My first appearance on a podcast. Hopefully, I don't trip and fall, and this isn't the last. Any day you get to wake up, drink coffee, and talk fantasy, it's a W in my book. So, ready to roll, and let's go.
There we go. Yeah, coffee, fantasy football. It's always awesome. And for people that it's Troy. I think his Twitter name's I'm blanking on his Twitter name right now. I'm gonna look it up real quick. But Snake in the Draft was actually his first podcast too, and now he's big time over at Join Our Circle. So it's a fun little place to come hang out. It's a T King mode. Goodness, my bad, Troy. But it's a good place to come hang out and talk about fantasy football. Especially, I like your articles and your takes. So there is one question I ask every guest, and that's what is one hobby that you really enjoy doing that does not relate to fantasy football?
Well, if you took one look at me and you see my glasses, you would maybe assume I'm a nerd, and you wouldn't be wrong. I don't just write for Dynasty Nerds. I'm an avid comic book reader. since I'm a teenager, I've been into it. I was way more into it than as I am now. I like to say I'm washed. Could barely fetch a third round pick if I'm lucky. And when I got the time, I'll read up on the comics. It's 32 pages, only costs me $4 to get my mind off things, and can't beat it.
That's awesome, man. That's totally awesome. One thing that I've been doing that's a little bit new is watching anime, actually. So it's been an interesting road to go down, because I've watched pretty much every other TV show that I want to watch, and it's been definitely fun. But let's go ahead and dig into your article. So this first portion is going to be your My Guys, and your first My Guy was J.K. Dobbins, which most people are high on J.K. Dobbins, but from reading your article, you are really high on J.K. Dobbins. So why should people be looking to what they probably would perceive to be an overpay for J.K. Dobbins?
I think there's some serious stock to the fact that he is entering his second season. We in the dynasty community, I think we could overvalue age and the perception of maybe their injuries over time a little too much. With running backs, we should be doing that though. And it's J.K. all day and twice on Sundays. There hasn't been a single moment in the process that we should question how good the guy is. He was a monster at Ohio State, drafted by the Ravens to be the incumbent for Mark Ingram. Didn't take long for them to get rid of Mark Ingram. That, if anything, as I recall, he made it really easy for them right when the offseason started. And he was like, go ahead, cut me, fellas. Whatever's best for you is best for me. And I think wheels are up for JK right now. Like you said, I'm really high on him. I have him as the RB2 behind Jonathan Taylor in Dynasty, one spot ahead of Christian McCaffrey. And
Everything good?
We back?
Yes.
Cut out.
No,
for a
you're
second.
good. Right. I noticed my Wi-Fi was acting a little funky, so I was gonna actually plug in real quick.
All right, take your time. I know exactly where I'm at. We're good.
Perfect. And if anything, we could just jump right back there, and then I can just edit that part just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Something that's nice about podcast is it's actually not hard at all to edit anything. So it makes it pretty easy, because at first when I was trying to get into podcasts, I was like, this is going to be really tough. It's going to be more time consuming, but it's really not too bad. Okay, so how is that for you? Is that pretty good?
Yeah. No, I'm just hoping my headphones don't cut out again. But yeah, it's good.
No, you should be good. I think it's gonna be coming through pretty good on your end. It was just my internet was showing up like crap. So
all right.
Awesome.
Right.
So talking J.K. Dobbins and why he is an ad.
All right. So we got him drafted. He's going to Baltimore, where they could trip, fall, and have 250 rushing yards almost any odd given week, unless it's the playoffs when it matters, apparently. And even in the playoffs, when they were playing Tennessee and they're losing effort, they actually showed the big reason why I'm in on JK. If our floor with JK Dobbins is 100 rushing yards a game, let's say maybe a touchdown, because Baltimore is capable of that, then what happens when they're getting blown out? They need to come back. And in the playoffs against Tennessee, there was 5 dump offs for 3 receptions and 55 yards to J.K. Dobbins. Now, that is real small sample size, but I believe in the playoffs, teams show what they actually want to do. And when your backs are against the wall, when you're losing, they know Lamar Jackson's game. They know what they have at this point, and I think they know that the dump off and electric J.K. Dobbins is a lot better than chucking it and praying that Hollywood Brown knows where he's at. Yeah, I think we could safely go out, get J.K. Dobbins, pay whatever you think is too much. It's probably the right amount. This time next year, you're going to feel good about it, and you'll be wanting to get a J.K. Dobbins jersey just to show you were that right the whole time.
Yeah, if Dobbins can get any type of receiving work, that'll definitely make him someone that everybody will want. It'll be interesting because we haven't seen it the last couple of years, but you already mentioned, they saw it in the playoffs, and that's where teams do show what they want to do. That's why, someone like a Cam Akers is very interesting going into 2021 because of what happened to him in the in the postseason. So, yeah, so we're going to go next to Deontay Johnson, which, I'm just going to jump ahead actually, because, whenever I say Deontay Johnson, people are thinking, okay, did you write this before or after Juju signed, and are you nervous or anything like that? So we're gonna just do this all together. Like Deontay Johnson, what do you think about him? And then with Juju, is it nervous? Are you more excited just because there's more people to go around? So how are you feeling?
I don't know if there's a guy I've become a bigger fan in the last year than Deontay Johnson. This time last year, I was making a point to go out and get him. And literally, I'm in 3 leagues. I love these people that will be in, like, I'm in 50 leagues and I have them in this many. No, I'm in 3 leagues. I know my team's like the back of my hand. And the one thing I know is I got Deontay Johnson on all 3 of those teams. Made it a point last offseason to get him on all 3 of those teams. And I beat myself up for not believing in Pittsburgh. They know how to draft receivers. And when they let Antonio Brown go, they knew what they were doing with Deontay Johnson. I don't know what I was thinking. I probably thought Juju Smith was going to end up being the best wide receiver since Randy Moss, like we all did. But we were all wrong, it looks like. And Juju doesn't scare me. I think it's funny that a wide receiver 3 in Pittsburgh wants to come back and be a wide receiver 3 again. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I think the world of Chase Claypool's talent. But Juju will receive more work through Big Ben. But let's be real. The guy you want dynasty between those two, Chase Claypool. Now, it's no argument. You want Deontay Johnson over both those guys. There's nothing in this world in fantasy that gets me going like a Deontay Johnson bubble screen. I won a championship this past year because Deontay Johnson was getting 3-yard catches, and Big Ben, the team I was going up against, he wasn't getting too many points from those little 3-yard dump offs. But PPR, that's 1.3 last time I checked, and I'll take that 1.3 all day, every single drive it happens, it seems. And we're gonna make up for it with the drops. It's all right, but in due time, I think Deontay, he won't be hurt like he was last year. People forget that, and he's gonna develop more chemistry with Ben this upcoming season, and then moving forward, we'll see. Maybe he'll have a Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton replacement before they end up finding the actual guy. But I think Deontay is going to be the one receiver since they signed back Antonio Brown the first time before he lost his marbles that they actually want to roll with for a bit. Chase Claypool, too. I think they end up keeping Chase in the long run.
Yeah, I like that call on Deontay Johnson. He's someone that I definitely like a lot and more than Juju and Chase Claypool. And with drops, that's something I'm not really super worried about because, drops don't lead to negative fantasy points. And that means he's getting the ball as well. And that's something I saw people going crazy about on Twitter during the season. And he's just one of those guys that because Juju went back, he is definitely affordable now. And I can see him being that PPR monster, like you mentioned, 3-yard bubble screens, 1.3 PPR points, or even if you're doing half PPR, that's 0.8 points. Stuff like that is super helpful, and that's what you want. That's why, like, someone like even the running back J.D. McKissick was so valuable because he just kept getting passes. And there's no reason to try to say, oh, he has drops, or, oh, it's going to be Juju this year whenever we saw Deontay Johnson be the most productive wide receiver on that team in 2020. So going into this next one, this is someone that I talked up a lot in the 2020 season at the very beginning because Robbie Anderson was showing out and everybody's like, is this for real? Is it not? Like, what's going on with this? And I was thinking, trade a 2021 second for Robbie Anderson, which if you did that, it ended up working out for you pretty decently if it was early enough in the season. So why are you excited about Robbie Anderson going into the 2021 season?
Well, sadly, I'm a Jets fan. Not only am I a Notre Dame fan, I'm a Jets fan. It gets worse, apparently, for my love of the game. That's maybe why I play fantasy football. Who knows? But, the last couple of years, I remember watching the Jets. And offensively, Robbie Anderson, he caught my eye big time from the beginning. And undrafted free agent from Temple, the guy had burners. It's amazing that a guy that ran a 4.37 actually went undrafted. I believe these days, it feels like this draft class, everybody everybody's running a 4.37 is going to get drafted in at least the third round from if you look at Twitter. But yeah, no, I think Robbie Anderson, there's something to the guy having 1,000 yards his first season, leaving Adam Gase in the Jets. And I think Joe Brady knows what he has in DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. It's a very good duo Robbie's in his prime. He's 27 years old. If you go and trade for him right now, you got a deep threat that has bare minimum 4 good years on him. And I think he hasn't even had, like, similar to Deontay, he hasn't had that guy that's going to really open up the ceiling for him. And it's something when you have that guy before it and that happens after. Because Robbie Anderson, I think we're looking at the wide receiver 3 floor going into this next season. And I don't even think that's a hot take. It's 1,000 yards and 4 TDs is coming Robbie Anderson's way. It's book it. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense, especially with all 3 wide receivers on that team being wide receiver 3s or better. And they have Curtis Samuel going to the Washington football team, which definitely excited about him going into 2021 as well. But not to get too off with it, let's go ahead and go to your next one. You had Jacoby Myers as your last buy, but there were some recent free agent signings with Bohr and Aguilar. So does that change your viewpoint on Jacoby Myers going into the 2021 season?
All right, so we're going to ease back the gas just a tad. The value of Jacoby is low at the moment. That you could go and get him, no exaggeration, probably for a 3rd-round pick in this draft, which you can get somebody. Let's ease it back even more. You can throw a 4th-round pick draft day for Jacoby Myers. I think they're going to want to see. They're going to have a little hype for someone in the 4th round come draft day. But yeah, we got Nelson Aguilar. He comes in, he signs the 2-year, $22 million deal, $16 million guaranteed. Kendrick Bourne signs a $15 million over 3 years, $5 million guaranteed. That's nothing to scoff at for ancillary targets. And I think it goes without saying that Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry were the key cogs in this offseason for the buys of the Patriots. They're going to want to run the ball. They know Cam Newton after 1 year. They're going to make it work. They're going to have a very, very classic stingy. We don't trust the Patriots. We don't want any Patriots type offense. I'm willing to say Cam Newton's probably the best sure bet out of the fantasy options in this upcoming season. But I do believe Nelson Aguilar is going to go down as wide receiver 1 next year. He's got more game right now than Ted Ginn did when Ted Ginn had 10 touchdowns with Cam Newton back in his MVP season. And I think Bill Belichick, he's a smart guy. He's seen Derek Carr throwing the ball to throwing deep bombs to Nelson Aguilar. I think Cam Newton can figure it out too. But the wide receiver too, because they won't be running a whole lot of wide receiver packages with those tight ends. So you're going to see Myers and Bourne battle it out. There's really something about that Patriots offensive playbook. It's in another language or something. Nobody knows what they're doing when they get there. It takes a little time to get established. And Julian Edelman, he doesn't even know if he's coming back yet. He's undecided on. He wants to come back. He's a tough dude and plays football. Obviously, he's tough. But, it's going to be an uphill battle coming back from surgery at age 35, I believe it is. And, yeah, I just think Jacoby Myers, that experience, he didn't even have. It wasn't like he had an impressive season last year, but there was out of nowhere, he just hops. Didn't mention N'Keal Harry. He hops N'Keal Harry like it was N'Keal Harry or something. And I think that settles something to me. That's when I went and picked him up for free in my one league and kicked myself for not doing it in the others. But yeah, we're looking at Jacoby Myers, I believe, around week 4 this upcoming season. We're going to see him as the established 2-man offense. And the right matchup where they're going to want to lock down Aguilar over the top, you're going to see an easy 6 to 12 points any odd given week. And not everybody's a Hall of Famer. You gotta know when to start a guy. You'll be pretty pumped up. You start a guy that people be like, Jacoby Myers, really? You're starting Jacoby Myers? Like, yeah, he got me 10 points. What's your point?
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget how it's super nice to have guys like Jacoby Myers that you could pick up off the waiver wire going into last offseason, and then you're looking pretty nice. And even like this time around, maybe get him. And like you said about the whole 6 to 12 points, which could help with flex, especially if you have injuries. Like last season, it was injuries like crazy. And even like it was like Nelson Aguilar had himself. He's a decent buy in my opinion as well, just because he had a similar season to Robbie Anderson, and that he just sort of came out of nowhere. So I like both of those, and I will say that it's going to be interesting to see how both of those tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, are used with the wide receivers, because that offense could be really exciting. Like you mentioned, Cam Newton, he's someone that could be a cheap super flex buy in Dynasty for a 1-year rental, depending on what the Patriots do with the rookie quarterback in the first round if they end up going for someone. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But this next guy, this article got me really excited because it was something that you don't expect to see a whole lot. And it was listing T.Y. Hilton as a buy. And with that, you mentioned, Carson Wentz coming there and T.Y. Hilton being on a 1-year deal. So what makes you excited about T.Y. Hilton going into next year? And do you see him as more like a sort of a 1-year high-end flex wide receiver 2 option, or maybe even potentially having more than 1 year?
This was totally in mind with people that want to win, people that know that they're a contender. This is not for the weak-hearted that are trying to tank and see their draft pick have better value next year. T.Y. Hilton might be the best buy if you want to win your championship this upcoming year, because the guy is getting scoffed at for his value. I know he finished as a wide receiver 3 and 4 the last 2 years, but we're talking Jacoby Myers and Noodle Arm Phillip Rivers. That was not Andrew Luck his entire career. He was a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, minus his rookie year. And that rookie year, oddly enough, he had 8 touchdowns. And if I'm not saying he's ever going to hit 8 touchdowns again, it seems like T.Y. Hilton's a walking 5. But I think there's something too. Carson Wentz never having a healthy deep target through his entire career. Early on, he had Torrey Smith. He had an oft-injured Deshaun Jackson. Last year, they didn't even get Jalen Reagor rolling until after Wentz was hurt. And then by then, it seemed like he was a lost cause, but that might be Jalen Hurts. The verdict's still out on that debate. But, I think we're going to see T.Y. Hilton turn into a very, very, very solid play-action deep wide receiver in an offense that the defenses are going to have to lock in on Jonathan Taylor. They're going to have to lock in on Marlon Mack when Jonathan Taylor's not on the field, and Nyheim Hines is a problem. You can't sleep on those guys, and the moment that they actually do completely dedicate the defense to those guys, it's not going to be Michael Pittman ripping it off over the top. And I know Mo Alley Cox is everybody's favorite tight end on the planet, but it's not going to be him either. We're going to see T.Y. Hilton doing what he's always done. He's going to go deep, stretch, bang out over the middle of the field for a 40-yard slant to the house. And at the end of the day, I think T.Y. Hilton's going to sneak his way into that top 12 wide receivers. It seems like every year, every couple of years, we see these wide receivers that we might have wrote off because they went over 30 years old. A few years back, Steve Smith, Larry Fitzgerald a couple years ago out of nowhere was a wide receiver 5 when everyone was writing him off. This last year, it's not coming to me, but we had a lot of people like that we always want to just write off, and it turns out that they're not done. And T.Y. Hilton with Carson Wentz in a Frank Reich offense, I think can go a long way. And it's too bad I don't have him in any of my leagues. I'm kicking myself for not having him. And in the 2 leagues I run, guys that have them, they are greedy. They know I wrote an article about them. They don't want to cough them up at this point, even though they're not contenders. And then my other league, it's a joke. We don't even have it running at the moment. I won this league last year, and I'll hit up the commissioner every couple of weeks being like, what are we doing, man? This is almost April now. Like, let's get on it. So be better, commissioners. A little side note. But you know what, T.Y. Hilton, he go out there, and I'm confidently saying you could trade a 2021 second-round pick in a 1 QB league. Now, you were saying to me earlier, 2 QB Superflex, you could probably do the same thing. And I wouldn't disagree with that. And it'd be the right move. If you're a contender, I know you're going to want to have some guy that's going to be blowing up like T.Y. Hilton on your team. Don't do anything drastic, but make it happen.
Yeah, and speaking about guys that are a little bit on the older side that ended up hitting this last year, I just looked it up, and Adam Thielen is the one of the older dudes here. And that's even with Justin Jefferson exploding as well. So he's one of those guys that was a top 12 tight end or top 12 wide receiver that we didn't really expect. I'd even throw in like Brandon Cooks and Marvin Jones being 17, 18, which you'd be super happy with your 2021 second turning into a top 24 wide receiver for a year. And I know everybody's, going to be talking about these rookies, how the class is deep and this and that, but there's always busts. And this last year, the 2020 class is absolutely special. 2021 class is not like the 2020 class at all. There's certain things where they're a little bit stronger, like, the quarterback position is a little bit stronger this year, a little bit stronger for the wide receiver position, but running back is way, way weaker. So I do like that. You put in the article, trading Damian Harris in a 2021 second in a 1 QB league. I think that's great. Even like a 2021 second, mid 2021 second straight for 2Y, I think is extremely doable, especially right now. So I like both of those trades right there. And going into your last article is about Logan Thomas, which if anybody's been following me on Twitter for a while or anything like that, I was lucky enough to get on the Logan Thomas train in July of last year, and was able to get him on almost all of my leagues. And he popped off. He was not a flash in the pan, and he, was tied for tight end 3, tied with Robert Tonyan in PPR leagues. And so you had an article talking about why he's not going to be a flash in the pan, which I have my own concerns, but I want to hear your take on why you are all in on Logan Thomas. And I'd even say related to his cost, it makes sense in that aspect too. So why do you like Logan Thomas going into the 2021 season?
I'm surprised you went and picked up Logan Thomas when David Blau was the guy throwing him the ball right before he became a free agent, went to Washington. So kudos to you for that. But I became quite the big fan of Logan Thomas week 1 last year when he blew up. Everybody was hyping him up, it seemed like, last year. And I feel like we always hype up these tight ends in the offseason. We want to get our hopes up. We want to believe. And it felt like it was Dan Arnold and Logan Thomas last year. And I never believed in Dan Arnold, but when Logan Thomas hit, I knew I had to go out and get him. And the guy was good for a 29-year-old that didn't receive major action in an offense until then. It's impressive he finished as the tight end 3. And I know Kittle got hurt. I know tight end's a bit of it's a joke in the fantasy community that we all like to scoff at. And I'd like to think one day offenses are going to change and we're actually going to have a different opinion. But Logan Thomas, the kids call him LT for a reason. The guy's got some game. I'm not saying he's a future Hall of Famer like with Damian Tomlinson, but I think Logan Thomas, he's going to walk into his casual, throw a TD when you're not expecting it. He's going to have Ryan Fitzpatrick slinging the ball around. So Fitz isn't going to put up the video game numbers like he did in 2016 with the Jets. But I think he's going to respectfully carry that team. I think Fitz ending the season with 27, 28 TDs, give or take. I think we see Logan Thomas 5-6 back where he was last year. And realistically, there's no way I don't see Logan Thomas finishing the top 10 next year. And you might be like, what's top 10 in tight end? That's nothing. You're not wrong. But from tight end 3 to tight end 16, there's a gap of 36 fantasy points. What's that? 3 touchdowns in fantasy? Or, no, sorry. That's a little more than 3 touchdowns, but it's not a lot. And, I think Logan Thomas, more or less, don't overthink it. Like, we overthink these things, like Hunter Henry going to the Patriots, Jonas Smith going to the Patriots. Which one's going to be better? Both of them are going to be okay and kill each other's value. Like, let's not overthink this. If one goes down, then it's not a hot take that the other one's going to go off. But off topic, Jonas Smith getting robbed as a possible tight end 5 this year by Hunter Henry going there the next day might have been the biggest low blow of the offseason. But Logan Thomas, I got him ranked ahead of both those guys in Dynasty. Both those guys in Dynasty on their own teams, no doubt should be ahead of them. But I'm trying to win. I think winning's pretty cool. I think you put money into these leagues, you want maybe get money back at the end of the year. That seems ideal to me. It seems like a good investment strategy. So give me the veteran that's going to be 30 years old come season start, and I think we're looking at an easy tight end 1 season, like where he's not going to be tight end 3. I think he could be tight end 6. I'm going to go. And that for that reason alone, I'm going to be swapping in and out between him and Mark Andrews all season long, because Mark Andrews is no every week starter. And if you think that, you're doing fantasy wrong.
Yeah, Mark Andrews has been tough on that every week part, which, I mean, as you just mentioned, tight end 1 through 3 is really where the consistency is, which is Waller, Kittle, Kelsey, maybe Pitts, probably not first year. I'm not going to guess no. Maybe TJ Hawkinson, maybe Noah Fant, but probably not again. So yeah, it's one of those things that if you can get someone like a Logan Thomas that you can consistently throw into your lineup, play the matchups, and just do that, it's a great way to play the tight end position. And that's a position that I actually really like. And even someone like a Robert Tonyan, I'd even throw in there as a similar guy that most people are not super high on, that you can get for relatively cheap and cover all your bases. Because you're right, if you don't got one of those top 3, you're just trying to get guys that will do top 6 tight end weekly, like weeks, pretty much. That's what you're looking for, those difference makers. So yeah, I really like that call with Logan Thomas. And the main reason that I like the tight end 6 call, because like you said, there's not that much separating these tight ends in the points. So with someone like a Logan Thomas being able to do that, like with Curtis Samuel, that's something I think will decrease his target share, but that again may not change his production value just because of how explosive that offense could be with Ryan Fitzpatrick at the quarterback position. So yeah, I really like that. So awesome. I had a blast today, Mike. Do you have any projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a Scotty Miller article right now. Scooter Gang Assemble. I had my one buddy, he's a Bucks fan. I was like, hey, you got a player you want me to do a write-up on? He said Scotty Miller. And turns out, even if he didn't say that, that would have probably been the guy I would have wrote one up on anyway. I think Scotty's great. And other than that, yeah, no, I'm getting into a little bit of Debbie research. I'd like a month from now, I'd like to be putting out some Debbie write-ups. And I don't want to just do that right now without a little bit of back knowledge like that I know is substantial. So I've been doing a little bit of film grinding, a little bit of reading. Like there's some good articles on Dynasty Nerds that guys are putting out for IDP. It seems like every day anymore. And yeah, no, that helps a long way. Like I'm totally gonna get wrecked in this IDP salary league that I'm doing research for, but that's also helping expand the mind for football, which I don't think enough people do. There's more than just offensive guys. There's people that play fantasy football for a decade now that can't name 5 offensive linemen. That sucks. And I know that's not in an IDP league, but my point remains, we should know the guys that are playing the sport that we claim to love. And anything you could do to expand the mind in that aspect, I'm all for it. So, Jake, honestly, it was great coming on. I appreciate you having me on. This is seriously fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely with you with trying different type of leagues, like IDP and salary cap. That's going to be a very, very interesting league to join. So yeah, I'm excited for you, and you'll have to let me know how that goes.
Yeah, I hear RBs don't matter, and I like Andy Dalton's contract. So that's how it's going to go. Deontay Johnson's mine if anybody in that league is listening to this.
You'll just have to pay up for him. That's it. Not as much, though, because Juju's there now.
First round. He's mine.
Hey, more power to you,
no,
man.
I won't
more power
do
to
that.
you, Mike.
I won't do. If anything, I got my eyes on DJ Moore in the first round because he's my wide receiver 3 in Dynasty. So, yeah, I like Robbie, but DJ Moore is where the heart lies.
Yeah, and DJ Moore's one of those guys that he definitely got missed by Teddy a lot during the season. That you just saw a bunch of film that you're like, man, if he just gave it to DJ Moore, touchdown. Like there was a lot of plays like that. Yeah. So awesome. Thanks again for coming on, Mike. Everyone go and follow Mike on Twitter at OMalthealleycat. Again, thanks for your support. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review to the Snake of the Draft podcast. If you're listening to podcasts, thank you all for tuning in. Let's be snakes this offseason.